Hello, everyone. For today's encouragement, I want to take you to Matthew's Gospel, chapter 2. And the title of this would be, The Point of the Magi. Here's the text. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi, my footnote says wise men, from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where's the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east, and we have come to worship him." Now, a couple of things for clarification. Notice nowhere in the text is there a mention of 3 magi. Yet we grow up thinking there were 3, singing songs like, "We 3 kings of Orient are bearing gifts." We assume that because there were 3 gifts, there were probably 3 magi. Well, maybe there were, maybe there weren't. We also assume from pictures that they all rode on camels, but we have no camels in the Christmas story at all. There's also the assumption that the star that led them was a natural phenomenon, an alignment of the constellations. After all, just last week, astronomers cheered when Jupiter and Saturn were aligned in the southeastern sky at dusk. It's a rare event, and many of us have heard it referred to as the Christmas star or the Christmas alignment. Was the Christmas star in alignment naturally explained? Well, when we read the text, it's hard to believe that it was a natural event, a natural occurrence. Verse 9 says, after they had heard from the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen in the east went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. Is that a natural phenomena? A star that close to the ground that it could actually point out the place among all the places where houses were built that Jesus was actually born and living? Sort of imagine it to be a balloon that flies over a car dealer today, marking the place where you can buy cars, certainly close to the ground. And were that to be a star in the sky, it would have to have been a supernatural event, noticed by the wise men, concluding that they needed to follow it to see the significance of it. The modern day narrative embellishes biblical narrative, and that's not exactly heresy, but I think it's important to notice that some of the things we have been told today are not really in the Bible. A far more significant question to ask is, what is the point of the Magi? And if you miss this, you miss the whole reason why Matthew included it. Here's the point. Matthew was Jewish. The Magi were Gentiles. Listen to that. Matthew was Jewish. The Magi were Gentiles. And yet this Jewish writer is the only one of all the gospel writers who includes the story of the Magi. From John Stock's book, God's New Society, we learn this about Gentiles and Jewish relationships. The Jew had an immense contempt for Gentiles. The Gentiles, said the Jews, were created by God to be the fuel for the fires of hell. God, they said, loves only Israel of all the nations that he has made. It was not even lawful to render help to a Jewish mother in her hour of sorest need, for that would simply bring into the world another Gentile. Until Christ came, the Gentiles were object of contempt for Jews. The barrier between them was absolute. If a Jewish boy married a Gentile girl, or a Jewish girl married a Gentile boy, the funeral of that Jewish boy or girl was carried out. Such contact with a Gentile was equivalent of death. So, to have a Jewish writer write about Gentiles coming to worship Christ was unbelievably important. You get this? Matthew is careful to tell his gospel as a fulfillment of the scriptures. So he describes events taking place in the context of "it is written." And in this case of Matthew chapter 2, there is an "it is written." He, I think, also is referring to the fulfillment of the Abrahamic promise. Back in Genesis chapter 12, God told Abraham, "Go from your country, your people, your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great. You will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse." And here it is. "And all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you." In other words, God is intending to bless Israel so that blessing might come to all people on the earth, Gentiles wherever they are. By including the details of the visit from the Magi, Matthew is emphasizing the mission of God to the whole world. And we, who are Gentiles, are recipients of that call and that mission. Following the death and resurrection of Jesus, Matthew ends his gospel with what we refer to as the Great Commission. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father. At this point, the Magi are now in the invitation to the whole world to come and worship Christ. God had made sure that they were led by the star to do just that. It is our assurance today that He intends for us to be a part of this covenant blessing. It's our invitation to continue to be missiological in our explaining to the whole world, everybody, we know that Jesus has come for them. The only way to heaven is through Christ, and Christ has come for them. That's the point of the Magi. Be encouraged as you know that story. Amen.